Are your plants struggling despite your best efforts with traditional fertilizers? You water faithfully, you feed regularly, yet something still feels off. The leaves lack that vibrant luster, growth seems sluggish, and plant diseases seem to find your garden no matter what you do. Here's what most gardeners don't realize. Chemical fertilizers are essentially a band-aid solution that temporarily masks a deeper problem. They provide quick nutrient hits that make plants grow, but they completely bypass the living soil ecosystem that plants actually evolved to work with. What if I told you the secret to a thriving, vibrant garden isn't in a bottle from the store, but right under your feet in the forest? The forest floor is nature's most sophisticated laboratory, a place where life has been perfecting the art of soil building for millennia. Today we're going to unlock this ancient wisdom and show you how to create a bio-complete garden tonic that will transform not just your plants, but your entire soil ecosystem. This isn't marketing hype, it's regenerative gardening rooted in real soil science. By the time you finish this guide, you'll have everything you need to start making your own forest soil tea and witnessing the remarkable transformation in your garden. So, to understand the power of forest soil tea, we need to first appreciate what makes forest soil so extraordinarily fertile and alive. You know, a typical forest floor isn't a dead substrate where plants simply anchor themselves. Instead, it's a thriving, interconnected community of life that rivals any rainforest canopy in its complexity and productivity. This living system has developed over centuries without a single application of synthetic fertilizer or human intervention, yet it sustains trees that grow taller, stronger, and healthier than almost any plant we cultivate in our gardens. The magic begins with organic matter. The forest floor is carpeted with leaves, fallen branches, tree bark, and, countless other plant and animal remains. Rather than being removed and discarded as we often do in our gardens, this material stays put and begins an intricate decomposition process. As it breaks down, it feeds an incredible array of organisms. Bacteria colonize the decaying matter. Fungi extend their networks throughout the forest floor, creating a living web. Protozoa graze on bacteria and release nutrients, and, honestly, countless arthropods process the material further. This isn't a chaotic process, but an elegantly choreographed symphony where each organism's waste becomes another organism's food. What emerges from this process is soil that's alive in ways we often fail to achieve in our gardens. The organic matter content is typically far higher than garden soil, which means better water retention, superior structure, and more stable temperatures. The biological activity is exponentially greater. We're talking about millions of organisms per gram of soil, compared to far fewer in conventionally managed garden beds. Most importantly, the nutrient cycling system is self-sustaining. The forest doesn't need anyone to add fertilizer because the system has become so efficient at breaking down organic matter and making nutrients available that it creates genuine abundance. Your garden can become like this, not overnight, but through the consistent application of the principles the forest has mastered. Creating effective forest soil tea requires understanding exactly what makes forest soil so potent. It's not just one factor, it's the cumulative effect of an entire ecosystem working in concert. When you're harvesting forest soil to create your tea, you're essentially bottling up the collective biological intelligence of that entire system. The living microorganisms are the primary magic. Bacteria in forest soil have been continuously evolving to break down the most complex organic materials nature produces, like wood, which can take years to decompose. These bacteria produce enzymes and compounds that your garden plants desperately need. Mycorrhizal fungi form partnerships with tree roots, extending the plant's ability to access water and nutrients far beyond what the roots could reach alone. When you introduce forest soil to your garden through tea, you're introducing these sophisticated fungal networks that have been refined by nature over millennia. So, the organic matter itself is, well, absolutely crucial. Forest soil usually has way more humus, that's fully decomposed organic matter, than your typical garden soil. And this humus is really the main way soil holds onto water, keeps its structure, and stores nutrients in a form that plants can actually use. Plus, it's the main food source for all those microbes living in the soil. But, beyond the obvious players, forest soil is home to a huge diversity of organisms working quietly in the background. Springtails, mites, and a bunch of other arthropods break down organic matter and create these little microsites where chemical changes can happen. Then, you've got protozoa, which graze on bacteria and, in the process, release nitrogen. And let's not forget the beneficial nematodes. They go after harmful organisms while also cycling nutrients. All this redundancy and diversity, it really builds resilience. So if one nutrient cycling pathway gets blocked, there are dozens of others ready to pick up the slack. That's exactly why solutions inspired by the forest lead to such strong plant health and disease resistance. You're not just adding a single nutrient or organism, you're actually introducing a whole ecosystem. Forest soil tea isn't just a one-time fix or, a quick solution to be tossed aside for the next trendy product. Instead, it's part of this bigger shift toward truly regenerative gardening, where you're actively rebuilding your soil's biological community, instead of just replacing it with synthetic inputs. As you keep using forest soil tea season after season, something pretty profound starts to happen in your garden. Your soil's native biological community actually begins to recover and get stronger. The microbial diversity goes up, and the organic matter content builds as you add compost along with the tea. Your plants end up healthier and more productive, and you don't need to keep increasing your inputs. Beyond just your own garden, you're really taking part in a quiet revolution that's happening all around the world. Gardeners everywhere are realizing that the most sophisticated agricultural and horticultural solutions have basically been right beneath our feet all along. By choosing forest soil tea instead of bottled fertilizers, you're saving money and, at the same time, building genuine soil wealth. You're reducing chemical runoff that harms waterways and aquatic ecosystems. You're sequestering carbon in your soil and creating habitat for countless organisms. You're proving through your own experience that the myth of needing chemistry to succeed in the garden is exactly that. A myth. Nature knows how to build fertility. We simply need to stop interfering and start participating. The knowledge you need to transform your garden is now in your hands. The materials are as close as your nearest forest or wooded area. The process is simple enough for complete beginners, yet sophisticated enough to satisfy experienced gardeners seeking deeper engagement with soil science. Most importantly, the results speak for themselves. I encourage you to source your forest soil responsibly, brew your first batch this week, and observe the changes in your garden over the coming months. Document your results with photos and notes. Share your experience with our community at the Living Soil Lab. Subscribe to the channel for more innovative techniques that transform gardening from a struggle against nature into a collaboration with it. Together we're building a movement of gardeners who understand that true fertility comes not from a bag or bottle, but from the living earth itself.